Tomavev from programtom.com/dev here. In previous video about web push notifications, I incorrectly said that Firebase push notifications documentation. Yeah, I've incorrectly said that this code is TypeScript. It seems that now the concept of export and import snippets are part of the official documentation. This is the Mozilla website, the Mozilla documentation, and it seems that having an export function, the export something from a JavaScript file, and then importing the library as module. This is something that I have seen as in React and TypeScript, but haven't seen yet in JavaScript, in plain JavaScript. It seems that it has moved to be a standard, and yeah, the internet is evolving so much that one could not get hold of it. So basically, the Google Firebase push notification case is when the user wants on your site, on your server, first you need to grab to initialize the Firebase app. And this is more of a settings object, JavaScript object that is required for any other Google Firebase messaging, analytics, and whatever. So this is the basic object that is required to get things started and even for the pushing. So after initializing this object that requires that is provided by the Firebase, you could go to the Firebase console and copy paste it, and it is secure because there is additional v a combination of key with a public and private key, and only a server that has the both the public and the private key has the ability to push to send server to server requests. And so after having this object, you then initialize messaging. So messaging has two sides, like the one that happens in the browser and the one that is on the background. Sending test message, no. Server environments. Yeah, there are two libraries. This is one for the browser, for the window, and yeah, here it is, the background version. Here is the VIP ID. This is the key and value key, and basically there is a version of messaging that is for executing in the service worker. Let me find, yeah, this is the on background message that I've set in the previous example. And here is the token. Yeah, here is the same get message, but for a version of it for the service worker. So in general, the service worker is a sandboxed and minimal version of your app, and not all kinds of logics could be executed there. So because it is run in the background, and so there are two versions: browser and service worker version of this library. And you must use it properly according to where it is. So you could register about messages to receive on message in the browser, and you must register on background message, the one that is here. This must be in the service worker. So this the way it must be set up. And besides that, you need to have to serve your app on HTTPS and have a true progressive web app that has some additional requirements to run offline and so on. And the thing is, the Google push and try to enforce a new way of handling the internet, and to have minimal amount of cookies and have a workaround this, so it will still be possible to have the same services provided to all, just in a more workaround way. So the problem is all the tutorials are handling the way the push the old way. So they've modified how you will send push notifications to their backend, and instead of having on your server the key that is key value, this VIP ID, instead of having this key on the server and being able to push server to server using the registration token of the user, they've modified your backend to select what project this on the for what project what Firebase project all this is owned by. So right now the push notification is contains in the URL the ID of the project, and as a body all the other necessary stuff like the registration token and other settings. And also your server lib needs to have access token. So the old way of integrating with Firebase, and not just with Firebase but with other types of services, was with API key, with API token that pasted once on your backend, you were able to send requests. Now they've updated you to need access token pair. So they provide gquout. This is a command line tool that you install on your server, and it manages the authentication with their backend. So basically your server takes this authentication, and this the way with access and refresh token to your server identifies with their backend. And there is also a setting in the developer console from what servers it is expected to receive a push. So it will not be risky to allow others with just the with a login. If somehow the files leak, the server is hacked. If the backend of if Google's backend is not hacked and you've entered correctly the sources from where push providing will happen, it will not be possible for external actors to push notification to your users. So yeah, they've made this service much more secure, but they've also made it much more complex to have it the mere hello world push notification to get it working. They've made it much more complex. So basically Google Firebase, they have a library for the browser, tool for the backend, and a separate tool for the service worker, and getting the token. All the old examples, all the old tutorials have this token as something like a URL with the user registration token part of the part of this URL. So it was sufficient to have this key and the registration token to push notification. But now this token is much more like a blob, some encoded item, and not a URL. And yeah, the URL now is a Firebase and the project ID. And this makes all the old tutorials not working today. So you could have like a tutorial that is 1 year old and it will still fail. Like this is a developer nightmare. But we must live with it if we want to have push notifications. And yeah, we must get it working and fine tune it, and yeah, one must get comfortable integrating with third-party APIs. Basically, nowadays the backend has evolved into microservices, and you must integrate with your own microservices. You must integrate with your coworkers' micro apps, and you must also integrate with external providers of any type of functionality. One cannot run all the functionalities that is required by our days modern apps independently from the internet. There will be either authentication, push notification, or emails, and yeah, there are endless amount of services that it is practically impossible to self-host all. So one must get comfortable integrating with services, with external services, and one must be comfortable describing very well what the what the requests pass, and what is expected, and to handle properly even both the success requests and the errors. and yeah, one must look what the error codes from the different APIs return. And yeah,